Okay, you guys. So thank you for tuning in, whether you're with us right now or watching the replay. Michelle Snyder is here with us from home office. We're so lucky and grateful to have her here with us today. And we're going to be covering reports. So I know we covered this in one of our hot topics. And I was unable to share the details with you because of, confidential information and numbers and all that I cannot share. So Michelle, I did a bar certification training with her, and it was amazing. It was so good. And she had offered to kind of help, with some report information. And I think it would be just the perfect opportunity to have her with us and kind of go over some of the information we were talking about and really give you guys better, more detailed information on how you guys can look at your numbers, your reports, what you need to pull, what you're looking at, and how it can help you in your business. So Michelle, thank you for being here.
All right. Thank you so much, Colleen. I'm so glad you were able to take that bar certification workshop and that was a helpful thing to you. And I'm really glad to be able to just kind of get together and chat a little bit tonight about workstation reporting. And there's just so many different options within our workstation reporting and so many different ways you can use that data to help you in your business. So this evening, we're going to just kind of, I'm going to walk you through workstation reporting. We're going to walk through it together, but using the core features and functions, kind of take a look at how to narrow your focus to be able to access the information you need quickly and easily. You have a wonderful opportunity as a consultant to build this business that's exactly the right fit for you and your family and your situation. And, using the reports can help you be able to maximize the time you have to invest in your business and hopefully be able to work towards your target goals. So I kind of look at the workstation as your consultant toolbox, right? There's tons of tools, resources, things there that you can access. Reporting is one of those elements, but it is like huge, so many things there. And I'm just kind of curious. I do have the chat open here, so if it's more comfortable at times to interact through the chat, you can do that. But we'll also have some times where I'll ask you some questions or we'll kind of talk about things together. It's totally okay to unmute and jump in. So we're just kind of having a casual chat. Okay. On kind of a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being you use a little bit and you can pretty much find what you're looking for. A 10 being, yeah, I feel really confident with the workstation reporting. And can, customize all those different features. Where are you at with reporting? How comfortable does that feel for you? You can, and you don't have to, you can just actually think about it, where you're at with that. But you can, okay. Oh, there's my chat pops up. Nice. Thanks, Colleen. So about an 8-9, that's fantastic. I'm going to tell you while you're thinking about that for just a second. Today actually is my 2-year centiversary. So here we are getting to celebrate together, which is fantastic. But that means over the last 2 years, I've been getting acquainted with the workstation and reporting and learning how it works and how do we streamline this tool to get the biggest return on the investment, the time that you have to give to your business. And so I get really excited about these things sometimes because I was actually a consultant with another direct sales company for 25 years and worked to build a team and a business. But I was also a school teacher, full-time elementary school teacher. And like many of you or many of the people that you lead, you wear multiple hats. And so you have to be able to use your time well when you have windows of time to invest. And so I'm hoping that in our time together, we'll be able to kind of get more comfortable, confident with workstation reporting and be able to use that for the things you want to accomplish. And okay, so we've got some, thank you for all the replies there in the chat. So we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, lots of variety there. And I'm right with you. So when I started at Cincy, a 2, I could get in, get there, figure it out. But as leaders, all of you have people that are coming in brand new. You always have people that are coming in with fresh eyes and trying to see it. And so as we talk today, I really like to encourage you to listen, maybe with like 2 sets of ears, 2 kinds of listening. One for the things that will be, like light bulb moments that are what you need right now for your personal business, but also just little things like, oh yeah, sometimes when we're so comfortable with something, we get really comfortable with something, I don't know, does it ever happen to you? You kind of go autopilot a little bit and you maybe stop thinking about some of the little things that could be like a major light bulb for someone else. So we'll talk about kind of both of those things. And, if you have questions as we go along, don't hesitate to ask. So I'm going to see if this will let me share my screen. Oh, actually it's saying, Colleen, I'll need permission. It looks like it says that it's disabled.
Sure. Oh, I think I can do it right here.
See if it'll let us do that. That one is sharing your screen.
I'm like, okay, share.
What is that picture?
Hold on, let me get back to you guys. Oh my goodness. Where am I? Oh, here we are. Okay, so let me stop share. Okay. And okay. Let me see. How can I do this?
Let me look here. It looks different on my end.
One person can share, multiple person can share. Does that help at all?
Let me try. Yes, that worked. Perfect.
Okay, good.
Okay, we are good to go. Let me see here. Okay, let's double check. Okay, so
Perfect.
tell me if you can see, and a thumbs up if you can see, if we got a PowerPoint there.
Yep.
Good, awesome. Okay, we are ready to roll here. Okay, so we're starting from square one and going to walk right through fairly quickly, but that reporting section of the workstation, which looks like this, right? If you go to your workstation right now and you were following along, you'd go to that reporting section, which you find in the menu there on the left. This has so many different options for finding information, but this area is super helpful for helping you to identify the specific things you need to work on, like targeting being paid at title and targeting that next promotion and all identifying the steps that will help you get there. Now, one of the things, remember I said we were going to talk about even just little things that can be a light bulb moment for someone. Confession right off the top from me. This was one of those things for me. So because the workstation, the reporting has so much information and data, you can fill up your screen really quickly, right? And you're scrolling left and right and up and down and all over. This was like magic. So this little icon up in the top left corner there, you all know what that is, I'm sure, but I didn't when I was brand new to looking at the workstation. So this little icon, if you click on that, it lets you minimize that sidebar. And so when you click on that, it looks like this, and that opens up your screen. So there's less scrolling. Something that small can be an empowering tip to team members who are just trying to figure it out. So that's where we start here, that little tiny things that can make a difference. But of course, the reporting section is split into 3 areas. And the first one being sales reports. Of course, that's where you'll go to find customer purchase history, potential reorders, promotion information, and this is a big note. So on your, if you haven't seen this yet, sales report section is where you'll find your bar. And that's a separate training. We could totally get together another day and talk about how to use that bar. But that's your business analysis report, and it is a hugely helpful tool that requires no filtering or functions or anything. And so just keep in mind that that's in your sales report section. The team section, of course, gives you your top team sales and sponsors and trends, birthdays, anniversaries, everything at a click of a button. And then my performance is where you see all that activity for the areas of all the areas of your business and your team. This is where we're going to spend most of the time tonight to talk about how to use this to focus in on your business activity. Now, there are two things that I always keep in mind when I go to my performance. When I go to this section, I'm looking for two specific things. One, the first is, what is the data that can help me celebrate what is happening right now in like if I'm going to have a coaching call with a consultant, I'm going to look at the reports and I'm looking for things that we can celebrate that are happening right now. And as a team leader, I'd encourage you to keep these two things in mind. We want to celebrate the things that are happening right now. This could be goals that are being met, new steps that are being taken, accomplishments, all of the things to be an encouraging word, right? The other thing I'm always looking for is data that will help me highlight what could be happening. So we celebrate what is happening, but then we really want to be able to come alongside and highlight what could be happening. So you're kind of inspiring that potential and identifying maybe coaching possibilities or pinpointing people that are already in motion and being able to see who to come alongside and how to help them. And of course, creating those action plans. So let's jump into that view my performance section, which looks something like this. So our disclaimer here is that I have taken out columns or information that have like the names and consultant ID numbers, things like that. So those are missing in what we're looking at, but otherwise the numbers and things all should be familiar. In this area, this is where you would click on Start Leadership Report, and that would open a screen that looks similar to what you see on my screen right now. Now, the menu on the left for this report has a lot of options. Even as a brand new consultant, these options are built into the reporting system. So we'll just kind of make sure we're all familiar with those. And starting out with, what is the difference between a leadership report and a downline report? They function just a little different. A leadership report lets you view information for the consultants that are directly within your leadership responsibility. So, for example, like you might be able to see, let's say you had like a STAR director, you would be able to see that STAR director on your report, but you would not see their team. Okay, that would be in a downline report. So that downline report goes a little bit farther. That's your whole group, it's everyone. So it lets you view information for the consultants in your whole group, including your team, directors, star directors, superstar directors, and their teams. For me, when I go to look for information, I most often use the leadership report. And that gives me what I need, especially for creating the conversations that are helping people along, you're wanting to work with people who are in your leadership responsibility most often. So I use that leadership report. Now, one other thing that you'll see on the side over here are those saved reports. Sensi builds all of these for you. So they're there for everyone. And these are reports that have already been designed for these specific topics that you can just click and open up, and it has that information already put together for you. Anybody out there already using some of these saved reports? You've got Shooting Star, Sensational Start, all of those different things. All right. Oops, my chat disappeared. I'm just making sure I've got that there. Okay. All right.
Michelle.
So, yes.
Really quickly, and those reports are updated when commissions post, correct?
Yes. Yes, because for something like promotions, all of that has to be, goes through that process of verifying and everything when commissions are finalized.
Okay.
So that would be updated then.
Perfect.
Yeah,
I just
that's a
wanted
great
to confirm
question.
that. Perfect.
Yep. Great question. Okay, so let's take a look here. So if you're in that Start Leadership Report section, there are actually quite a few basic features and functions that you can use to kind of create your own reports. So in addition to those saved reports, you can customize something that gives you the information specific to what you want to do in your business. So we're just going to walk through those real quick. And if I get going too fast and you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Okay, so stop me just like that, Colleen. So if I get going too quick, somebody let me know. Okay, so we're going to start at the very top here with the date area. Now, when you open up your workstation reporting, the month and year that will automatically be there, the default is the current month and year. So right now, if you open up your workstation, that means you're going to see February 2022. Okay. But sometimes you want to look at data that's from other months. So to do that, you just click on those two little arrows. That will pop up a box that looks like this. And then you can scroll through and choose any month that you would like to look at. You just need to click the box in front of it. But let's say you want to look at a range of months. If you hold down the Shift key, it will allow you to click the box in front of multiple months. So in this case, I've selected October, November, and December of 2020, and that will give me a date range. So this time when I run the report, it's going to include information for all 3 months instead of just a single month. Can you think of things in your business where a date range might be helpful to be able to look at? What kinds of times would you use a date range?
For incentives or
that's a great one, right?
Annual sales or mentor.
Yeah. Any of those that are specific time periods, both of those are very specific time periods. So those ranges can be really helpful. Anything else come to mind? Anybody else? Oh, I love that you're sharing there in the chat. Yeah, so this would be where you can find those annual sales numbers. This would also be helpful if you wanted to set, maybe you want to set quarterly goals. Okay, so you could take, I want to set some goals for, maybe it's April, May, June. Okay, so you can take a look at April, May, June for last year. What did the team do in that date range? And be able to use that to kind of say, okay, let's take that information and maybe set some goals. Maybe we want to beat our best this quarter. So there are a number of times when that date range will be helpful. And all you have to do is hold down that Shift key and click the months that you'd like to look at. The next feature function here that we'll take a look at is the view. And when you click on this, you'll get a drop-down box that gives you 3 different options. Group is the default. So that's what will be selected every time you open a leadership report. It'll automatically go to group, and it will look like what you see on the screen right now. You can choose the team or the tree, and that just changes how that information is shown. So in a tree view, you're going to see the information kind of organized a little bit differently, like by leader. And so it's all the same information. It's just maybe organized a little bit differently. I find that the group is pretty much all I use. That one is the most intuitive to use for me. And so I just kind of stick with that default, but you could experiment with some of the others to see if that is a helpful, if the way it's organized is helpful for you. But the group is nice and easy to work with and gives you lots of options. Okay, so the next function we want to look at is additional features. When you click on this button, it's going to open up a window that looks like this. In this section, you have the option to create like ranges to kind of narrow down the information in your report. And so as an example, you'll see this minimum and maximum columns for all of the like key areas of your business, right? PRV, TWV, GWV, all of those key areas of your business. Those are the things that specifically help with paid at title and promotions. So this is going to help you keep an eye on those bits of information that impact those areas. So to use this, we're going to experiment with PRV. And the join date is another option. It's kind of off to the side, so we want to make sure that you know about that one. The join date doesn't show you as clearly that minimum maximum, but it functions the same, except you put in the date range. So let's say you want to let's say there's a join promo in May, and in June you want to look and see who was new to your team during that join promotion. So in this window, you could put May 1st, 2022 in there, and in the maximum put May 31st in the maximum. And that will mean that you're only pulling up consultants that joined in that time frame. So you'll just be able to focus in on those new team members. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's do an experiment here. We're going to take a look at PRV, a minimum of 200, maximum of 499. How would a range like this be helpful? A PRV range of 200 to 499. How might that be helpful when you're looking at reports? Any thoughts?
Well, you'll know who's getting active, and if it's your leadership or you'll know if it's your frontline getting active, which is very important to, if you have frontline, you want to know if they're active every month because you want your active number of frontline to be high every month. And to 499, if it's a leader, if they're getting paid at title or getting close to paid at title, or where the area for conversation is.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. And is that Lydia and Marnie there? Yeah. So you're all on the same track there. That 499 is key, right? Because everybody's trying to hit 500. So with this range, you're going to be able to see where everybody that's active, like you mentioned, Colleen. You're also going to be able to see that paid at title, that they're getting close. So let's take a look at what it would look like with this range. Once you put the range in, that minimum and maximum number, then you're going to click on Run Report, and it's going to give you something that looks like this. Now, when we opened up the report the first time, when we went to the workstation reporting and we just clicked on leadership report, that brought up everyone in your team, right? It's everyone that you could see there. Now the report has narrowed it down to a list of 15 people instead of everyone. Now we just see a list of 15 consultants because they were the ones that have PRV in that range. So it took out anybody who's over or under. So what I love about this is it makes it easier to look at. It can be so overwhelming to have so many numbers. It's so much to look at. If you can narrow things down to where it's easy to look at, it will let you access exactly, pinpoint what you're looking for a lot faster. So just with that one filter, we've narrowed this down to a list of 15 people, which is much more manageable than scrolling through everyone, right? However, when you open it up, when you do this and it runs that report, it's got everything in random orders. So you can see here that, they're all within that range, but the order's random. So let's talk just a minute about the sort function. So if you click at the top of, oops, sorry, wrong way. Let's go the right way. Okay, so if you click up there where the title is of each column, it will sort that column for you and put it in order. So if you click it one time, it's going to put everything, let's do it. So let's click it one time. That puts it in a descending order. So you have the largest at the top. If you click it twice, it reverses it. But before we take a look at that, let's look at the numbers here on the screen. With the sort having descending order, so the largest is at the top, I think you had mentioned, being able to see who's at that 500 goal, right? This makes it easy to see. Even though it's only a list of 15, I instantly, right off the top, can see who's close to that 500. Okay. I do want to point out, side note here for just a second, looking up at the date and year. Does anybody notice this is September 2020? That means it's a closed month, right? So this is something that's passed and over. There's nothing we can do about any of these numbers right now, right? This is the done deal. What do you notice about the first number?
That she didn't get paid at title.
Okay. 493.48. So she didn't get paid at title, but it's less than seven PRV short.
Right.
And so when I look at something like that, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of going, oh my goodness, it almost hurts a little bit because they were so close. They missed it by just a little bit. So this might be a report that would be helpful to run maybe in the middle of the month or like the third week of the month, right? So if you run this report in that third week of the month, you've still got time to reach out to that person and say, hey, I just noticed you're only 7 PRV away from hitting that 500 goal, because they might not know. So you'd be able to come alongside and maybe help them reach that goal. Okay. And if you were to click twice at the top of PRV, it will change the way it looks. So it sorts it in a ascending order and puts that 200 towards the top. And what kinds of things could this be helpful for if the 200's at the top instead of the 499? I think you may have already, Lydia, you're absolutely right. The earlier you find this information, the better chance you have to help them, for sure. And I think somebody may have already mentioned having that 200 is active, right? We want to make sure everybody is staying active at the same time. Okay, so do you remember towards the beginning when we were getting started, I said that there are two things that I'm always looking for when I go into this reporting section. One is, what can we celebrate that is happening? And two, what can we highlight that could be happening, right? So help me out here with this list. Looking at this, like if I come, I get home from school and dinner with the family, and then I've got a few minutes before I'm grading papers to go in and work on my business a little bit, right? And so I'm going to pull up this report because it's got those 15 people there I can reach out to. Looking at this, what is something I could celebrate for consultants on this list as I'm taking a look here? If I want to reach out, send them an email or a text, what's something I could celebrate that is happening already?
That they are active.
Yeah.
They're all active.
Yes. Yeah, Marnie. Absolutely. They are all active. And anything else come to mind? Any other perspectives on what you might celebrate looking at those numbers? If you were to run this report maybe mid-month and you reach out.
If they're close to being paid at title.
Yeah, that they're close to being paid at title. You might even have somebody that's maybe never had 500. Like if you're talking about new consultants coming in, to be able to look at this and say, hey, I noticed that you're already at 200 PRV, or you're already at 250. You are halfway to that 500 goal, or whatever it is. So you can look for those things and find the something to celebrate. And at the same time, so it's also highlighting you are halfway to that 500.
You could also look at that where there's a bunch of consultants that aren't certified yet to see how close they are as well, and reach out to encourage them to get certified.
Yes. So I love that as you look at this, just having this one report narrowed down by PRV, you're able to use the other columns to reach out for more conversations. So Colleen, that'd be fantastic. You are, this close, or you're making steps, helping them see, because sometimes they aren't always aware of what's happening, or helping them avoid missing 500 by 7 PRV. Okay. All right. So let's keep going. While we're here, I want to point out this little button because it almost doesn't look like a button. It's just words, but it says reset sort order. If you've been clicking on the titles and changing, sorting the information in the report, and you just want it back the way it was when you first ran the report, just click reset sort order and it will get rid of everything that you've adjusted. Okay, so it's a click easy reset. Okay, so back to that additional filter options. This is something that'll be super helpful to you as you're working with your reports. The titles section gives you a drop-down box. The default is all titles. So when you open up a leadership report, it's showing you everyone, right? All of the titles. But let's say you want to work specifically with lead consultants, star consultants, and superstar consultants. Let's say you're going to focus in on this group and you're trying to help them get to the next level. And so you want to narrow this report down to just see those people so you can come in here, access that information quickly, see how they're doing, and be in touch with them. All you have to do here is to click that all titles box. It will take away all of those titles and let you choose which ones you want to see. So I've clicked next to lead consultant, star consultant, and superstar consultant. Now, when I run that report, it's going to narrow it down to just those titles. So this is the same report, but we only see lead and star consultants because everything else we've removed from view. But you can see that the PRV range is still there, right? So that is still the same. And so if you think about this, when you opened your leadership report to begin with, it had everyone listed, right? And then we added that PRV filter, narrowed it down to a list of 15. That's easier to look at for sure. But now we've added the leadership titles in there, and now there's just a list of 3. How much more manageable does that feel, right? Now I know exactly who I'm looking for. When I open this report, I'm just able to look at the 3 that I want to focus on because these are the ones that I'm trying to help level up. You know, we want to help them get to the next level. So by using those ranges, you know, that minimum and maximum, adjusting some of those things or choosing the title that you want to look at, it helps you to narrow the focus, get rid of anything that's extra or distracting, and lets you just be able to access information quickly and identify connecting points quickly. So that simplified report is also less scrolling, all of those things. Any questions about that so far? All good. Okay. So let's, okay, here is an option for choose visible columns. When you click on choose visible columns, it's going to open up this box. On the left, it shows you everything that is automatically added to your leadership report, the way it is when you open it. So this is what you see. At the end of each row, you see a little minus sign. If you click that minus sign, it gets rid of that column. On the right is a whole huge list of additional columns you could add to the report if you wanted to. So if there's more information that you're looking for, you can click on the plus, that little plus sign that's at the end of each row, and you can add any of these columns to your report. So we're going to experiment here just a little bit, and I'm going to work with TWV and team. I click the minus sign next to that. Actually, let me go back. Let's do this real fast. I just want to make sure this makes sense. And when you look at this report and you look at TWV and GWV, what do you notice about those 2 columns?
They're the same.
They're exactly the same. Yeah. Why is that on this particular report?
Because they are not a director yet.
Yeah, so GWV is the same as TWV because they're not a director yet. So that means there's duplicate information. It's exactly the same. So if we're wanting to really make this clean and streamline, let's take those columns off. So we'll click the minus sign next to that and click OK, and it removes those columns. So now we have this really clean, simple report that lets us just access the information we want quickly and easily. So let's give this a try. Here's one of our consultants that we want to work with. Looking at this consultant, this is a lead consultant. What do you see as you look at those numbers? What's happening in this consultant's business that we could celebrate?
Well, their GWV is very close to getting paid at title.
Title, yeah. Except for she needs the 500.
Right. And the active frontline. But I mean, the
Correct.
GWV is very, very close.
Well, she has one active front line.
She needs
For lead,
for lead. She's lead. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I love the way you're going right down the row there and looking about, so paid at title is a thing we want everyone to experience, right? Even if they're a lead consultant, if you can have everyone be paid at title, they're going to feel like they're being successful. And it actually might give them a little boost of encouragement to think, oh, maybe this business is something I can do, right? So it's goal for everyone to be paid at title. So I love that you were looking at those columns and you're going right down the row. Is the PRV where it needs to be? Is the TWV there? The GWV and active frontline? You automatically were looking for those things, and that's fantastic. And so as we look for something to celebrate, Colleen, I think that was you that maybe mentioned that, yeah, she's, less than 50 on that GWV, right, from where she needs to be. So that would definitely be something to celebrate. So close. And the next thing we look for is highlighting what could be happening. So, like Marnie, I think you mentioned that PRV is close, it's getting close there. So highlighting that active frontline's where it needs to be with just a little more in those two areas, then paid at title would be right there, right? So it's looking for, are they being paid at title? And are they close to that promotion? What can we celebrate? What can we highlight so they know what to work on? Does this feel like it would be helpful to you to be able to access that information a little bit faster by narrowing it down? I know for me, sometimes I can get a little overwhelmed. It's like, oh my goodness, there's so many numbers. So I like to make it clean and simple. Once you've got the report the way you want it, then you're going to click this button here that says saved report. By clicking that button, it's going to put it into the saved report section on the left side in that menu area. So the next time you come looking for something to encourage these team members along, you just click the report in that saved section and it comes up looking like this. You don't have to go back in and put any of those filters or functions or anything in. It's already saved and done. So that makes it really easy because you just set it up one time and then save it. Now, I want to point out one other thing because this question comes up a lot and it's hard to show. So I want to be sure that we don't miss it. Once you have saved a report, oops, I did that too fast. When you open that report again and you're inside that saved report, you'll see a delete report option come up on your screen. That option does not show, it's not visible at all unless you're inside a saved report. But when you are in that saved report, then this little button comes up, which can be so helpful. Because let's say you go through and over the course of the year, you have different programs or things that you're working on. Maybe you've finished doing that quarterly challenge or whatever it is that you've set a report for and you're finished using it. Sometimes consultants don't know how to get rid of it. How do we clean up all those saved reports? And it can be a helpful thing for you to let your downline know that they have to go into that saved report, open it up, and then they'll be able to see that delete report option and just click that button and it goes away. But they won't see that option unless they're inside that report. Okay. Any questions at all about any of that? Okay. There's also the option to export to Excel. So if you really enjoy working with Excel and you'd like to be able to manipulate that information even a little bit more, click that export to Excel button. And then you'll have that saved to your computer and can work more with that. One thing I will tell you too, while you are in the reports section, you actually have the ability to move columns around, and it's much easier than in Excel. So let's say you want them in a different order. If you'd like to be able to have will terminate next to their title, if you like a different order, you just click on the title of will terminate, drag that column down to where you want it to be, and you can line things up the way it makes sense and feels good to you. Okay, so know that you can move those columns around when you're in your workstation. All right, let's take a look here. This, just to give you an idea of what some other options might look like. I ran a different report this time, new scenario. Let's say in this case, you're working to promote some new directors. You're a new first gen director. And so in this case, I made a couple additions. I applied that filter in the minimum and maximum in the generation column, and I put 0 in there. And by putting 0 in there, that's going to show me my team, okay? Because it's only the people, there's no directors in between. So it's just showing me my team. So it narrows everybody down to just the people that if they promoted to director, they would be in my first gen director. And then I've gone in here and I did a sort. I just clicked on the title that's and sorted that. So it puts, because I only did it one time, that's descending. So the largest at the top there. And then I can see who they are and where they were ranked and all of that information, and be able to really get a feel for where they are at that time. So let's try one more example of looking through these numbers. Hopefully you can see that okay. So the goal here is helping someone promote. We're working to help them promote. And so here is a star consultant. And let's see, first question, is this star consultant being paid at title?
No.
What's missing? PRV looks fantastic, right? But what's missing, Marnie?
Her active frontline? No, I'm sorry. Her
Let's see.
GWB.
Okay. Yeah, she's, so if she's wanting to promote, we need to hit superstar consultant numbers, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so GWV needs to be 6,000.
6,000.
Yep. So that is going to be an area of focus. So then you have opportunity to come alongside and say, hey, I see, I mean, she's more than halfway, right? So we could celebrate that. Yeah. We could also celebrate her PRV, and some of the other requirements are being met, and she's in a great place to be taking next steps. So there's lots to celebrate with this consultant.
Yeah.
But we also have opportunity to highlight what could be happening, right? So Marnie, just like you're saying there, we could say, hey, did you know that you could promote to superstar consultant? All of these other things are right where they need to be. If we just focused in on your GWV, you could promote to superstar consultant. And then you could come along and say, give her some ideas, talk about what could she do? So what would be an example? If you were working with this consultant, what could you recommend that would help her with her GWV?
She could reach out to her downline and see how she can help them to get more sales and their numbers up, or get
Okay.
maybe more active.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're because what they do also will increase her GWV. So she can reach out to her team. She could, do more PRV to herself.
She absolutely could. But I love that your first thought there was that, hey, she's not alone in this, right? This is a
Right.
group project. So yeah, she could come alongside and encourage team members to become more active. Maybe work with them as well. Encourage
Keep
that.
recruiting.
Okay,
I was
I
just
love
gonna
that.
say keep recruiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I look at that, I'm like, wow, she's like carrying that number.
Mhm.
So that is going to be heavy on somebody, month after month after month. Like I would take a look at that number and then even like look back on her previous numbers to see if this is a month where she's just super high. Was it something specific going on that month? Because if she's able to maintain that month after month, I mean, she really has to get her team involved or keep recruiting
Right.
because that's a lot of that group. That GWV is a lot of her own sales.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I love, do you hear how that's working? You can just look at this and you're automatically able to identify the areas of focus. You know exactly where to come alongside this team member and say, hey, always start with the celebrate, right? Because we love that the good stuff and the positive encouragement, but they may not realize how close they are, or they may not realize that, her PRV was all but 1,000 of the GWV. And then she might just need some ideas on how to help her team get active. You can come alongside and give her some tips and brainstorm that with her, help her to see that possibility. And in that process, you're helping her be successful, which is also helping you be successful, right? If she promotes to superstar consultant, there's only one more step there to director. So any questions about that process? Or so this particular report, I specifically was looking for the people who are getting close to those steps for promoting to director. And so that's why I put these parameters in the filter. There are lots of other things you might look for as a leader, as you want to come alongside, but you can go in and set the parameters. Maybe you want to know, you could set a TWV range. You want to know everybody who's in this range and look through that report. What I love is I love that it just simplifies it. So now I know exactly, you can be laser focused and just come in instead of scrolling and sorting through everybody. You can quickly take a look at this and reach out and have meaningful conversations with your team members based on facts, right? I think Colleen, at the very beginning, you said, this is the black and white numbers, right? This is the real stuff. So it's not guessing. Sometimes, like in January at the beginning of the year, we ask our teams, what's your goal? What do you want to work towards? What do you want to happen with your Scentsy business? And it's easy to choose some things, but when you work with the information from your reporting, you can actually choose next steps that provide the outcome that you're looking for and take some of that guesswork out. Okay, any questions about any of that? Okay, I want to tell you two quick things. We're going to skip this one for just a second. This is where our time is wrapping up here. I also want to make sure that you know that you can go into a saved report and make adjustments. So just because something is saved already doesn't mean that you can't still go in and choose columns or add filters. All of those core functions work in a saved report and a custom report. So in this case, when you look at my screen right now, I'm in an essential to certified report. That's one that Scentsy builds for you. It's in your saved reports. And I chose to add a column for enroller. So you can see there on the right, it's added. I've covered up the names, of course. Normally you would see a list of names there and it would list everyone's enroller. Why do you think adding a column for enroller might be helpful? when you're looking at essential to certified, can you think of a time where it might be helpful to know who their enroller was?
So you can see how many people they recruited that month or
Oh, yeah, you totally could. You could click sort on enroller and it would group them all together, right? So you could see who had what. This essential to certified saved report is kind of designed to show you who your people are also. But Marnie, that pointing that out is, one of the reasons why I would add this. Let's say you were kind of working on annual mentor.
you can shout them out and see how many you can say you have so many left and you'll hit annual mentor if you get them to be certified and recruit, 2 or 3 more, and then you can hit annual mentor.
Yeah, for sure. And what if you're trying to hit annual mentor yourself? And let's say you think you've got it all wrapped up, right? You've hit your numbers, you've got them all wrapped up. Except sometimes without that enroller column, you might not realize that one of the people you're counting was actually enrolled by someone else and maybe has rolled up to you. And maybe you helped them promote, maybe you helped them get certified, but they weren't maybe you didn't enroll them personally. And so then you can be short one, and it's like that 7 PRV that you're just like, oh, I was so close. So know that you can go into any of these saved reports. And if there's something that you think might be helpful to you for what you want to know about your business, you can still add columns and use the filters, even though that report has been saved. Okay. So just know that. Let me just make sure that we've got all of this. I think we covered all that. I just didn't highlight them. And I'm going to show you this one last picture before we wrap up here. This crazy toolbox with all these screwdrivers. So when I was a kid, my dad had the big toolbox, right? And loved to work on wood projects. And I like to watch, but I also thought it'd be great if we did this together. I can be helpful, right? And so one day we're out working on stuff and he says, would you go get me a screwdriver? And I'm like, yes, right? I've got this. I can get a screwdriver, no problem. Well, I went into the toolbox and it was full of screwdrivers. There were long ones, short ones, big ones. There were square ones. There were T's. There were, all these different screwdrivers. And a couple of things went through my head. One was, who knew, right? There could be so many different kinds of screwdrivers. The other was, my dad might have a problem. He's collecting screwdrivers like insanely. This is craziness, right? There's all these screwdrivers. What was very overwhelming, and I didn't know what to grab. Your workstation reporting is that toolbox. It is full of information, and sometimes it can feel a little bit overwhelming. And we don't want to be that collector of tools. We want to use the tools, right, to maximize the outcome in your business. And hopefully learning a little bit, thinking about how to use those filters and those functions to narrow your report, to get rid of everything that's distracting. You don't need 5 screwdrivers right now. You just need 2, or you just need 1, so narrow it down to what will be most helpful to you. And then show your team members how to do the same, let them know. Sometimes it's super easy to feel like I need all the reports. I need a little bit of all the things, and you can collect those reports. The best reports are the ones that you're going to be able to use to celebrate what is happening, and then find action steps to help your team members, help yourself with what could be happening. Because there's so many more possibilities for your businesses. The sky's the limit. There's no limit. And so use your reports to help you get there. And if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. I'm always happy to help any way I can. Any last questions? I think we are just over, so I don't want to keep you.
No, I mean, guys, if you have questions, please ask. You're more than welcome to. But this was awesome. And as I progressed in my leadership, I realized how important reports really were, because your team gets bigger and you really feel pulled to work with everybody. But it's important to use your time effectively and efficiently in pulling those reports so you can see who you should be working with and where your areas are for improvement and what you can celebrate. We were talking about recognition as one of our hot topics for leadership and how important it is.
Yeah.
And it all goes hand in hand. And so if you're pulling your reports, there's many reasons to recognize somebody and make them feel, accomplished and feed them confidence. But when you're pulling the reports, I mean, it's right there. It eliminates any, long conversations where you feel drained, pulled, where it feels exhausting to pour into people. You can see directly the conversation that needs to be had and, what you guys can talk about and just move forward. It was just a lot of guessing and just kind of all over the place before I really started diving into my reports and really utilizing them as part of my tools. And now I pull them several times a month, probably 3 to 4 times a month I'll pull, and just to kind of check where I am. And just like we were looking at, I mean, who's close, who can I reach out to that I see that 7 PRV has happened many, many times. And I know it's like, are you kidding me? It could be something so little, and we can't assume anything, because when you reach out to that person, they are like, what? No way. And they have no idea. So, we may be on it. We may be vigilant about looking, but we cannot assume that others know. And so it really is important to just kind of reach out and give a friendly nudge, or just, help them along. And report pulling has been so key to my growth, in the past few years. So we definitely appreciate you coming here and being able to show the screen and walk us through. It's so helpful, and it is overwhelming. The workstation is so full of amazing information, but knowing where to look and where to find that one specific thing you're looking for, or should I be looking for this? Because that's there too. Or, it's so helpful to have you here to just kind of walk us through all that. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're really welcome. Yes, absolutely. I hope that it helps you narrow things down so that you can declutter, right?
Yes.
we can't get more time in the day.
That's
but
right.
You can maximize your time by focusing in on what you actually need. And I just saw a comment over here, Colleen. I just checked a report and realized one of my girls is 98 cents away from being certified.
Oh my gosh.
98
cents.
98 Okay, so that's a celebrate and a highlight moment right there.
Yes. Yes. And Carl, did you know that before at all?
I didn't know, no.
See, look how awesome that is. You're
Yay!
like, okay, she's getting certified. That's amazing.
I've got goosebumps.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. So awesome. Thank you guys. And thank you, Michelle, so much. It was so nice to meet you for my certification program, and then to have you come and, introduce you to my team as well. Thank you. Thank you for your time. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so I
And
will be
Colleen-
sharing this. Yeah.
Thank you for setting this up for us.
Oh,
Yes.
of course. I'm
Yeah,
happy to.
You're making it possible for us to get together.
Good. I'm happy to. Everybody deserves.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, Michelle, have a great night. We appreciate you. And yeah, hopefully, we can share this with our other leader friends and enlighten them as well. So thank you.
You're absolutely so great to meet all of you.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for getting together.
Absolutely. Thank you.